Did you know that a man once managed to walk out of one of India's most secure prisons? Not by force, but by throwing a party for his own jailers? It sounds like something out of a movie, but this is a true story that shocked the world. This was the audacious reality of Charles Sobhraj, a man whose name would become synonymous with deception, danger, and escape. Sobhraj baked a cake laced with sleeping pills for his guards. As they drifted into a deep, drugged sleep, he simply strolled out of the prison gates, leaving chaos and disbelief in his wake. It was a feat that cemented his reputation as a master manipulator. Known as the Serpent, Sobhraj was a predator who played games not just with his victims, but with the very systems designed to keep society safe. He thrived on outsmarting everyone around him, always staying one step ahead. His chilling moniker, the Bikini Killer, was given by the press after several of his victims were found on beaches, clad in bikinis. The name alone sent shivers down the spines of travelers across Asia. Sobhraj's charm was his deadliest weapon. He could draw people in with a disarming smile and a gentle word, making strangers feel like old friends. His ability to blend in and gain trust was almost supernatural. He could become exactly who someone wanted him to be, offering friendship, guidance, or even love, while secretly hiding a dagger behind his back. His duplicity was as effortless as his smile. Behind that smile, though, was a chilling emptiness, a void where empathy should have been. It was this lack of conscience that made him one of the most elusive and dangerous criminals of his era. The legend of Charles Sobhraj grew with every retelling, whispered in guest houses from Kabul to Bangkok. Backpackers swapped stories, warning each other to beware the charming stranger with the serpent's smile. He thrived on chaos, orchestrating events like a puppet master pulling invisible strings, controlling lives, and sometimes orchestrating death itself. But to truly understand how Charles Sobhraj became the monster he was, we must go back to his beginnings, to the making of a mind that would one day terrify the world. Where does such darkness begin? For Charles Sobhraj, it started early. Born in Saigon in 1944, his father abandoned the family, leaving him feeling like an outsider. He was shuffled between France and Asia, never fitting in, fueling resentment. His mother remarried, but Sobhraj never connected with his stepfather or life in France. As a teenager, his rebellion turned sinister with petty crimes. Each arrest only hardened him, prison becoming his education. He learned the criminal underworld and honed his ability to manipulate. Sobhraj saw the world as a chessboard, determined to move the pieces. The petty thief transformed into a predator, each crime more sophisticated. He developed contempt for authority, seeing laws as obstacles to circumvent. This toxic mix of abandonment and superiority crafted a monster. The world didn't know it yet, but a storm was brewing. The 1970s hippie trail was more than just a route. It was a rite of passage for thousands of young adventurers. Drawn by the promise of freedom, self-discovery, and spiritual awakening, travelers from all over the world flocked to this legendary path, weaving through cities and landscapes from Europe to Asia. But for Charles Sobhraj, the trail was something far more sinister, a river teeming with unsuspecting prey, each traveler a potential victim in his calculated game. Alongside his lover, Marie-André Leclerc, Sobhraj established a base in the bustling heart of Bangkok, blending seamlessly into the expatriate community. They moved among the crowds, unnoticed, their true intentions hidden behind charming smiles. Sobhraj, adopting the persona of gem dealer Alain Gauthier, used his charisma to befriend travelers. He offered them hospitality, a place to stay, and the illusion of safety, when in reality it was all a carefully laid trap. He was always on the lookout for naive, trusting backpackers, those with money, passports, or connections he could exploit. To Sobhraj, every new face was an opportunity. With chilling precision, he convinced his targets they were ill, offering them medicine that was, in truth, poison. The drugs left them weak, confused, and utterly dependent on him. As their strength faded, Sobhraj took control, draining their resources, stealing their identities, and erasing their presence from the trail. When his victims had nothing left to offer, he discarded them without remorse, leaving behind only abandoned belongings and unanswered questions. The hippie trail, once a symbol of peace and unity, concealed a serpent in its grass, a hidden danger lurking beneath the surface of paradise. For many, what began as a journey of hope and adventure ended in tragedy, their dreams cut short by a predator in disguise. Sobhraj's method was chillingly simple, yet devastatingly effective, preying on trust, exploiting kindness, and vanishing before suspicion could take root. He played the role of caretaker and tormentor, friend and foe, weaving a web of deception that ensnared the innocent. The dark secret of the hippie trail became a cautionary tale, a warning whispered among travelers for years to come. In the heart of paradise, a predator waited, coiled, and ready to strike at the next unsuspecting soul. The carefree spirit of the era was shattered, replaced by fear and suspicion. The hippie trail would never be the same. In the aftermath, the world seemed a more dangerous place, and the innocence of a generation was lost forever. Teresa Knowlton's story is a chilling example of Sobhraj's methods. A young American, she crossed paths with Sobhraj in Bangkok. Her body was found in the Gulf of Thailand, dressed in a bikini. Initially thought of drowning, no one suspected the charming gem dealer. Sobhraj perfected being invisible in plain sight. The Dutch couple, Henk and Cornelia, met Sobhraj in Hong Kong. He charmed them, earning their trust, and they followed him to Thailand. At Kneat House, they fell ill, and Sobhraj isolated them. Charmaine Carew, searching for her boyfriend, was murdered. The Dutch couple, witnesses, were also killed. Their bodies were drugged, strangled, and set on fire. Sobhraj's crimes were cold, calculated transactions. He used victims' identities to fund his lifestyle. A ghost, a chameleon, he was nearly impossible to track. The murders went unsolved until Herman Nippenberg, a Dutch diplomat, intervened. Alerted by the families of missing Dutch travelers, he began investigating. He discovered their link to a French gem dealer, Alain Gauthier. Nippenberg's persistence unraveled the sinister tapestry. Despite resistance, he connected the dots between Gauthier and other deaths. His breakthrough came when Thai police searched Sobhraj's apartment. They found passports, poisons, and evidence of his crimes. Nippenberg exposed the dark secret of the hippie trail. It was no longer random tragedies, but the work of a serial killer. Thanks to a diplomat's determination, Sobhraj's crimes had a face. The case highlighted the need for international police cooperation. Sobhraj exploited weaknesses in the system, teaching a hard lesson. The relentless pursuit of justice finally paid off. Even with his identity revealed to authorities across multiple countries, catching Sobhraj proved to be a nearly impossible task. He was always one step ahead, slipping through the cracks of international law enforcement. After fleeing Thailand, he continued his crimes across Asia, moving from country to country with ease. Using stolen identities and forged documents, he left a trail of deception and violence wherever he went, baffling police at every turn. Eventually, he was captured in New Delhi after a botched drugging attempt. Indian authorities wasted no time in sending him to the notorious Tihar jail, hoping to finally put an end to his reign of terror. But prison was no obstacle for Sobhraj. Inside, he lived in comfort, bribing guards and manipulating the system to his advantage. He turned his cell into a den of luxury, enjoying privileges few inmates could ever dream of. Sobhraj cleverly delayed his trial for years, exploiting legal loopholes and frustrating judges. He knew that if he could stall long enough, the statute of limitations on his crimes in Thailand would expire, and he would escape justice yet again. In 1986, with extradition to Thailand looming, Sobhraj began plotting his most daring escape yet. He studied the prison's routines, searching for the perfect opportunity to make his move. On the day of a guard's birthday party, he drugged the prison staff's food and, as chaos erupted, simply walked out of the heavily guarded facility, leaving everyone stunned. Though he was recaptured in Goa weeks later, his plan had worked. By escaping, he ensured he would remain in India, and the clock on Thailand's statute of limitations kept ticking. By 1997, the statute of limitations in Thailand had finally expired, closing the door on prosecution for his most notorious crimes there. Now a free man, Sobhraj returned to France, where he lived openly and even courted celebrity status, basking in the attention of the media and the public. He had outsmarted the system once again, playing a dangerous game and winning against all odds. Sobhraj's escape was not just a bid for freedom. It was an act of pure arrogance, a statement to the world that he could not be contained. He thrived on manipulation and the thrill of freedom, always staying one step ahead of those who tried to catch him. His story became a testament to his cunning, audacity, and the flaws in the justice system that allowed him to slip away time and again. The world watched in disbelief as Sobhraj, the master of escape, seemingly got away with murder, his legend growing with every headline. Sobhraj's crimes left a scar on travelers and families. The hippie trail, once innocent, was tainted by fear. The Bikini Killer's story became a dark legend. Families of victims found no closure, haunted by his freedom. Sobhraj's infamy was a source of pain for those he hurt. Law enforcement learned the need for global cooperation. His accomplices faced their own fates, some vanishing without a trace. The impact of his crimes echoed through generations. For years, Sobhraj seemed untouchable, living freely in Paris. But in 2003, he returned to Nepal, where he was still wanted. Spotted in a Kathmandu casino, he was finally arrested. The serpent, who evaded justice for decades, was caged. His trial was a media sensation, but the evidence was overwhelming. In 2004, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life. He fought the verdict, but justice prevailed. In 2014, he received another life sentence for a second murder. Confined to a Nepalese prison, his world shrank to a cell. The man who thrived on freedom was now trapped. For victims' families, it was a moment of vindication. Justice, though delayed, was finally served. Sobhraj's story was a reminder of the long reach of the law. The chilling tale of the Bikini Killer was finally closed. The world watched as justice caught up with him. As of 2025, Charles Sobhraj's story nears its end. Released from Nepalese prison in 2022 due to age and health, he returned to France. His release wasn't an acquittal, but a result of time. In Paris, he remains a figure of grim fascination. A shadow of his former self, he denies the murders. The tale of Sobhraj is a reminder of darkness behind charm. It underscores the need for awareness and caution in travel. The past holds lessons for the present, teaching about justice. The Bikini Killer's story is one of many that must be remembered. Stay informed, stay safe, and keep seeking the truth.